I'd like to welcome you to our devotional study today. We are looking at bibliology, the doctrine of the Bible, and we want to study this out very carefully first because every other doctrine that we are going to look at through the course of this year comes from the Word of God. So really all of our doctrine rises or falls on whether or not the Bible is the Word of God. And we've been we began looking this week at the evidences for inspiration. And yesterday we looked at some external evidence for inspiration, evidence outside of the Bible itself that teaches us that the Bible is the Word of God. And that's a key phrase, that's an important phrase. We're going to see that as we continue to unpack this idea of inspiration, that what we believe is that the Bible is the Word of God. I'm going to take some time today to look at some internal evidences for inspiration. Now, when we speak of internal evidence, we are speaking of evidences from within the Bible itself, which bear testimony to the fact that this is a book that was given by inspiration of God. In other words, we believe in divine inspiration and the divine authority of the Word of God. That this book is the Word of God and that it has the power of God upon it. Now, you say, what are some of these internal evidences that you speak of that show us this truth of inspiration? Well, let me give you four very quickly today in the time that we have. First of all, one of the evidences internally for inspiration is details of events that are beyond human knowledge. There are some things that the Bible speaks of that only God could know. There are some things that no human being could know anything about unless God revealed those things to us. So when you see the Bible give details of events that are beyond human knowledge, it's an evidence that the Bible is the Word of God. For example, how would we know anything about creation unless God revealed it to us? The truth of the matter is, nobody was here when it happened. Even Adam and Eve were not created until day 6. So there is no way that we could know the details of creation unless God revealed them to us. The words of Satan or something else are, really that we would not know unless God revealed them to us. Even in the scriptures, you will find that it reveals what is in the heart of certain people. Now, friends, you and I don't know what's in anybody's heart. Truth be told, a lot of times I question how much we even know really what is at the root in our own hearts. But the Bible tells us that there are times when God gives us what's in the heart of certain people in the Word of God, and that could only be known by God. Man cannot know that. Only God could give us these things. Another internal evidence that the Bible is the Word of God is the remarkable unity of the Bible. When you stop and think about the Bible, how it was written, where it was written, by the people that it was written, all of those various things, let me tell you what I mean. The Bible is a book that was written on 3 continents over a space of 1,600 years. So it's obvious that everybody that wrote the Bible did not know one another. I mean, it's written over a period of 1,600 years. The oldest man that ever lived on the face of the earth was Methuselah, and that was at 969, and he lived before the flood. And we know that after the flood, man's lifespan got significantly shorter. But the Bible was written on 3 continents over a period of about 1,600 years by over 40 human different writers of diverse backgrounds and occupations and under different circumstances. But yet it has a unique doctrinal and structural unity. You see, when you look at the Word of God, there is one theme. There is no conflict to the Word of God. And the remarkable unity of the Bible is evidence that this is a book that was been given by God. You take even 2 people and you get them to sit down and write about one thing that happened, and I'll guarantee you there will be differences. There will be conflicts. but not within the pages of the Word of God. This reminds us that this is not a book that has come from men. This is a book that has come from God. The third evidence that I want to give you that's internal in the Bible that gives evidence to the inspiration of the Scriptures is the supernatural doctrines of the Bible. You see, if man was involved in writing the Bible, many of the things that are in the Bible we would not have portrayed the way they are portrayed in the Bible. Many of the doctrines in the Bible are contrary to human nature, and most certainly would not have been written if the Bible were just a man's book. You say, what kind of doctrines? Well, the doctrine of man, or doctrine of God, first of all. Compare the Bible's presentation of God as an infinite, sovereign, triune, holy, and loving person with the various deities or little g gods that have been concocted by man. And it becomes very quick to see that the God of the Bible altogether transcends all infinite intellect, and there is no way that man could have invented the God that is revealed to us in the Word of God. But not only the doctrine of God, the doctrine of man. The Bible's portrayal of man as base, vile, sinful, and corrupt, and depraved would never be so written by natural man. We would not paint ourselves in that light. Even the hideous sins of a hero like David are mentioned, and certainly those are things that we would have left out if a human being had written the Word of God. Another doctrine that makes it evidence that this is God's book is the doctrine of sin. Natural man minimizes sin and exalts the world. The Bible does the opposite. Friends, the fact that hell is denied by natural man shows that we have a Bible that man would not write. It is a book that has been given to us by God. And then, as we think about doctrine, the doctrine of salvation. Is it not obvious that man seeks salvation through works and through whatever he can do to appease a holy God? Friends, if the Bible were a human book, the plan of salvation would be by works of some kind, but the Bible is very clear that salvation is through the shed blood of the Son of God, and that works are something that are not involved in salvation. Let me give you one more internal evidence for the inspiration of the Scriptures, and that internal evidence, very simply, is that of fulfilled prophecy. Sometimes we forget, because, we're looking at the Bible from the day and age that we live in, and rightly so, but let me remind you that over 2/3 of the Bible was prophetic at the time that it was written. And much of this prophecy has already been fulfilled to the letter. As a matter of fact, it is so accurate that those who do not believe the Bible is the Word of God actually say that it is impossible that these things were written in advance, because it's not possible to write with such accuracy about events before such events happen. And that is absolutely, completely true if you are a man or if something's being written by man. But friends, the reason it can be written in advance, the reason history can be written in advance as prophecy, is because the Bible is not a book that has been given to us by man. The Bible is a book that has been given to us by God. And when you look at the completeness and the detail of the prophecies that have been fulfilled, that is one of the strongest internal proofs of the inspiration of the Scriptures that we have in our world today. Messianic prophecy alone is remarkable. Friend, over 300 prophecies of the birth, the ministry, the passion, the resurrection, and the ascension of Christ have been already fulfilled. That would be impossible from a human perspective. Beyond that, in one 24-hour period, when the crucifixion happened, there were at least 21 different prophecies that were fulfilled in exact detail. And some people have figured out the odds of that happening, and we're not going to get into detail of it, but let me just say this. The odds of that happening and it being a mere chance are absolutely staggering. God has given us abundant evidence in the Word of God and outside of the Word of God that reveal to us the simple truth that the Bible is the Word of God. Have a great day.